The SAP Business Technology Platform, SAP BTP in short, is the foundation that brings together data, analytics, integration, and application development to power intelligent enterprise innovation. In this kickoff session, we explore how SAP BTP is purpose-built for business application, optimizing processes across SAP and non-SAP landscapes, and how it enables transformation. Welcome everyone to today's live expert session. An overview of SAP BTP in 2026. We are thrilled to have you join us. I have the pleasure of having here with me today Arne Speck, Product Manager for SAP BTP. Arne focuses on platform-related cross-services topics. During his past 19 years at SAP, Arne was working in several different roles in the area of SAP's technology portfolio with a strong customer focus. And now, without further ado, over to you, Arne.
Thank you so much, Tania, for having me again, also this year. Really happy to provide this overview and to start to this really great session that you are planning for many years now. Thank you so much for that. As Tania already mentioned, I'm in the BTP product management, and also this year I would like to give you an update on what is SAP Business Technology, how do we see ourselves in 2026, what are some news that we also have, but also for all the ones that are not familiar with BTP until now, give you really some insights on what you can do with it, how you can use it, and which huge benefits you can achieve by using the SAP Business Technology Platform. So let's have a look at the agenda that I prepared for today. So we will, first of all, have an introduction in general. What is the Business Technology Platform? What are we targeting? What are also maybe different views on this platform and how it is being used by different groups? Then we will go a little bit further into the different areas that we're addressing with BTP. So this is then also an introduction for you for the further sessions that are coming up during this series. To get a short introduction, so if you are interested in one of those topics, I really, really encourage you to join the sessions within the series that are really looking into those different technology areas. We will have a short look on what does it mean when we are talking about this multi-cloud BTP platform. And I will also provide you some information on how you can start your journey with BTP if you not already did so until now. So let's have a look on the motivation about why it is so important to think about technology platforms specifically in this business context that we're providing. So if we look at successful companies that we're seeing out there in the world, it's mainly two things that often differentiate them from their competitors. And that's, on the one hand side, they are really very agile, which means they have the possibility to react very quickly on changes to their business. And these changes come from several different areas. It can be that there are new norms, new processes in their industries that they have to fulfill. It can be also the reaction to competitors coming up with new ideas, new business models, industries merging together in a lot of areas so that companies really look into new business areas and they have to quickly get on board and get their experiences there. But often it's also the technology itself that requires companies to act quickly on changes. Now, if we look at AI, for example, you have to react on that if you do not want to get left behind, actually. And on the other hand side, staying with AI, we clearly also see the innovation piece of the coin. So that's basically the other yeah, it's the other side of the coin, being able to react on changes on the one hand side, but on the other hand side, also driving innovation to drive change in your business, in your industries, which means that you are able to really innovate and bring new ideas into life. And this is also something that you need to fulfill if you want to be successful in your industries and if you want to also lead within your industry, to not get lost and in the end be just running behind your competition. So what you actually are seeing when you're trying to be, on the one hand side, agile, but on the other hand side, also very innovative, then you see natural borders or difficulties, challenges that we are facing or that companies are facing. And often looking at the application and process landscapes, we see a vast of different solutions, different technologies of completely different ages that have to work together in different deployment models with a lot of media breaks and spots where actually we only see a very low automation grade. And if you want to react fast to changing things, that is, of course, a very bad situation to drive this change, because you have to then bring it into each individual pieces of your process. So we see those technologies and legacy systems that we have to bring together to come up to processes before we even can start to automate them, to be much more agile when things are changing. And on the other hand side, often it also is much harder than to apply new innovations and technologies into those processes and technologies that are available. So basically what is needed to overcome this is or are platforms that help you, on the one hand side, aligning your business processes, reaching a high level of integration, reaching a high level of automation inside those processes, and also to a certain degree, a common layer of technology that helps being much faster in bringing in new things without having to really work with several different technologies that actually have the same purpose. So establishing a platform that brings together those technologies centrally for your application systems as well as your innovation systems, that is one of those purposes of the platform that we're searching for. And then delivering also the innovation technologies that help you make it easier to do that innovations on the platform. And basically, that is the overall idea of BTP. So if we are searching for a short definition on what is SAP BTP, then actually it is a platform that helps you do custom development, custom integrations, and also custom innovations on a solid foundation. And ideally integrated into the application portfolio that SAP is offering you. Because yes, with many customers, it's the case that a big portion of the business processes are handled within SAP's application portfolio. Nevertheless, there are the points where we need to integrate between the SAP solutions, integrate between SAP and third-party solutions, integrate in between SAP solutions and your custom innovations and custom developments. And if you can do those innovations, those custom developments on the same technology foundation as a big portion of your processes is already running, then definitely you will be more agile. It will be easier to integrate and to extend your business processes with your very individual parts of the process that differentiate you also from your competition. Now, looking at BTP, which are then the basic pillars that we're looking on, And this changed a little bit with Analytics Cloud and DataSphere being now, said they went through an evolution and are now offered in another deployment model. So they are now offered as software as a service solution in an SAP managed way as part of a business data cloud. We are really focusing on those custom developments when it comes to processes and AI and agents, of course, in the AI space. So when we talk about BTP today, we're talking about agent and application development, your custom developments to do extensions and applications. We have the integration piece looking at classical A2A integration topics, but also working in event-driven architectures, working with well-described and monitored and managed APIs, and so on. Also, not only talking about A2A, but also about B2B and B2G integration. And then we're providing a strong AI and data foundation for your developments and for your AI scenario. So the platform to create, operate, and run your AI scenarios. And underneath, of course, there is this strong stack of core platform capabilities like security, lifecycle management, operations and administration that really help you making it possible to operate your custom individualizations and extensions to your business applications with the same technology foundation. Now, if we look at BTP from different perspectives, we also can have a look on how SAP, for example, sees BTP and what it means for them. So if we are as SAP looking at BTP, first of all, it is our harmonized technology foundation for all the business suite applications that we're offering, meaning that we have common technologies and services that we're using for specific tasks within our stack. So for example, when it comes to identity handling, we are using the identity management services that are running on top of our BTP for all the solutions that we're offering, right? If we want to offer UI capabilities, we make sure that the UIs of our different applications can be brought together in a single entry point on BTP for your employees so that they do not have to work in those silos, right? It's also about integration, pre-integrated components and applications. If you're having different solutions out of the business suite portfolio, predefined or pre-integrated master data solutions and so on. And the technology that actually does this is running on BTP, right? So we're talking about those qualities. Also, we're also referring to suite qualities that we have or that are provided for the business suite by SAP. And one point that I wanted to also mention here explicitly is in the AI area. If you look at the application portfolio of SAP, you will see that in all lines of businesses, we included a lot of AI-based scenarios that makes the work of the different employees in the different lines of businesses a lot easier. So if I am an HR agent and I want to create a new job posting, generative AI automatically embedded in SuccessFactors helps me today to generate this posting. And the interesting thing about this, so overall we have now at about 400 of such scenarios embedded into our applications. We are running, maintaining, and operating those scenarios all on BTP. So we created our own platform to operate these scenarios and make it possible to handle those 400 scenarios. And I mean, the number is growing a lot for thousands of customers that are operating our or their AI scenarios as part of their business suite applications. So it's our technology foundation to run and operate the suite on the one hand side, but also when it comes to new scenarios, new developments, it's also the platform that we are using for all kinds of new developments, for new applications that we are creating at SAP. Now, changing the view coming from the partner, and with this huge partner environment that we're having, it's a natural thing that also this is a very interesting and important foundation for partners that think about creating their own solutions, being it as resellers that create things that they will distribute, so as independent software vendors that will sell their created solutions to a lot of customers, or if we're talking about you getting partners in that explicitly do their developments for you, for your scenarios. So there are a lot of solutions available. There are a lot of trained experts that will help you do your start with BTP and create your individual scenarios on top of a robust platform here. And then the last point of view, and this is basically also why we're talking today, it's a platform for you as customers, right? And as said before, it is a very modern development platform that helps you create your individual custom integrations, applications, agents, AI scenarios, and that contains the model on the one hand side, maybe, but also maybe just the scenario leveraging an external model, and then handling those things with all the aspects on what is the data foundation for that, how do I do the lifecycle management for those scenarios on top of a very solid foundation here. So now it's time, and I hope this made it clear what we're doing. So you see here also a little bit the core pillars that we are looking at when we talk about those different pillars here, the development pieces, the integration pieces, AI and data, and in the end also those core platform capabilities like security, but also extended with specific compliance services that are really relevant in the business area, maybe not so much if you're a private developer. So let's continue with a short insight into what we're actually offering in the different areas. Let's start with the agent and application development section. So basically, when we talk about application and agent development, we really want to address all kinds of developers with all the different technologies that we're seeing in the market that really support a fast and reliable development, which means that this contains low-code, pro-code tools, but of course, all enabled by AI and supported by AI to really fulfill the tasks easier and faster with all the capabilities that we're seeing today. And with the clear strategy also to target the developers in their common environments. And this is a little bit a change that we're seeing here, that we really want to be open, want to bring our capabilities into the environments, the development environments that are used, rather than really creating only our own tool sets here. So what is it that we're looking in? It's of course focusing a lot on extensions of business applications. Naturally, as SAP, we have this business process in mind. And if there is something where you need to really have custom extensions, then it's definitely the platform that makes it easy to do those things. Make it easy also with the programming models that we give you to integrate this into your applications that you're having. This is not restricted to just SAP applications, but of course optimized for those. which means that, for example, when it comes to the automation of steps, so tasks or processes, that we're also working together with other technology pieces of our portfolio, like, for example, Signavio, where you can then figure out where do you have challenges, issues in your processes, or just room for improvement. So you define it there, and then you can use BTP directly to overcome some findings here. In a lot of cases, there's already content available that will help you to find a fast solution to improve your process performance, for example. So it's really also about getting to a higher degree of automation within your processes, be it on the task side or cross-system processes, for example, right? Where you have the challenge that you have tasks that span across different applications, need data from different applications to do the right decisions, for example, then bringing this together, accessing the right data, having it completely integrated into the process, but still being on top of different applications that make of my overall process, which then in the end leads to the fact that you have less media breaks or having to change user interfaces or whatever. Now, if we talk about the user and his integration into the processes, it's also the possibility that we're offering our customers to create meaningful digital workspaces, right? Bringing together all the tasks of all the applications that make up the work of an employee and combine it also with the necessary information sources or collaborative tools or data that is required to do his job in just one meaningful place, because he is not interested actually in which system he is working. He just wants to perform his work, right? And then more and more important, you all know, hopefully, that with SAP Joule, or with Joule, we have our agent that supports the employees within the different lines of business or solutions for the lines of businesses, with a lot of capabilities and agents available. Nevertheless, you, of course, have also your own specificities, your own businesses, your own developments, your own insights that you want to also integrate into that Joule assistant. And this is exactly what we're also providing here. So the possibility to create skills and agents and run them then inside Joule to work also with the existing agents that we are delivering here. And as said before, addressing the different parts of the developer community, from people with huge coding skills in whatever language to really people that are maybe more in the business IT area, the ones that in earlier times wrote maybe the requirement documents and now are enabled with the toolings to create things by themselves, of course, with the control that is needed to really keep an eye on what is being done there. So what we are doing is we're bringing those different development aspects together in our SAP Build solution to also have projects available that include different types of development and still having a meaningful view into actually what is happening in those projects and having this general overview. We are actually looking into reducing the complexity of those projects, of those development projects, to bring this together. Also, when it comes to who is doing which parts, what does that mean from a licensing perspective? So we really try to bring the complexity out of that development. Of course, scaling, how can we create applications that are really scalable on the one hand side that keep your core clean, of course, as we are a side-by-side platform. We are actually able to create completely decoupled solutions here. Yeah, and in the end, of course, being faster and making it possible to have a better and more reliable look on your developments with very efficient developers. So looking into some of the tools that we're providing here, and as said, we're not restricted to just those tools. You can consume most of the build parts already today, also out of open development environments, if you're using Visual Studio, for example. But also in the toolings, if we look at, we have, for example, the Joule Studio, which is our tool to give your users the opportunity to use an intent-based coding approach. So it's no coding, it's really just telling what is my intent on what I want to do, and then coming to the possibility or giving your developers the possibility to create meaningful agents or simple Joule skills. When it comes to code-based development, of course, that is a topic that is changing a lot due to the possibilities of using AI to do code generation. So we are using, for example, cup-based generative tools here that help creating the cup artifacts to stay in line with the cloud application programming model here, that actually makes it easy to create extensions and also leverage the capabilities of BTP by including very easily logging, but also things like audit logging, creating the data artifacts out of the box. So this is available, for example, for Java, for Node.js. And on the other hand side, if we talk about code-based development, it's not only the cloud native world that we're addressing here. Build also offers an ABAP environment, which provides the possibility to do ABAP-based development. Also here, of course, in a new fashion, providing the possibility to use AIs for code generation, for the creation of test data, and so on, that actually really boost the productivity of your developers. Nevertheless, also in the low-code area, so really model-based approaches, we continue to have SAP Build Apps. Also here, of course, more and more AI capabilities will be requested or helping to do that. But this, in the end, also, if I use code generation today, if I do not understand what is being generated, then still it's hard for me to develop. So with those tools here, we also provide this capability for other solutions. Now, for the specific development of automations, we provide with build process automation a component that helps creating workflow-like process automations, or also task automations in a classical way, or also supported, of course, by AI capabilities. And what I already mentioned, the entry for the employees, that is also part of the build portfolio, is the SAP Workzone, which provides the possibility to really create those meaningful entries into the work that your employees have to perform, no matter what applications are behind, giving him access to all the information, the applications, and the people also that they need to collaborate with to perform their jobs. So basically, what we're trying to achieve is, of course, the effort and the productivity of our employees. And if you want to read some more on what that really means, is I would ask you to also maybe have a look at this at this analysis of GigaOM, and they were actually looking into now what can I really achieve by using SAP build versus custom development solutions. Very interesting read, and pretty impressive the results that they were finding. So before we go into the next pillar, this gives again an overview about what is included in SAP build for agent and application development. Also, besides the solutions, of course, with the frameworks for UI, but also, of course, CAP and for the ABAP-based development with ABAP Cloud, we're providing also the frameworks and a lot of help that makes it possible to create your applications fast and always in combination with the core platform capabilities. Providing the possibility then to deploy to the respective runtimes and run and operate also those solutions over the overall lifecycle. Now, coming to integration. Basically, as said before, it is important if we really want to improve our processes, our agility, and also our ability to innovate, that we are talking about integrated processes, which include on the one hand and mainly the application integration with the most modern technologies, but of course also the integration of our partners, of governments where we have to apply to certain regulations, or topics like providing our invoices to a governmental system in the end to be compliant here. So that is basically the core of what we are looking at in the integration area. Nevertheless, in times of AI, it's also the question, how do we integrate and operate different AI agents? How can they talk to each other? How do we actually integrate in that whole area of AI? So this is also part of the offering that we're seeing here in the integration portfolio. So yes, you could argue integration has been there for a long time, should be more or less now something that is commodity. To a certain extent, this might be true. Nevertheless, also here we are seeing a lot of new requirements, also new technologies that are important. And we also have to see that we have to operate in hybrid landscapes now. So in former times, we had our on-premise systems, we had our middleware somewhere, and then we integrated. Now, if we look at the application landscapes of most of our customers, we're seeing private cloud installations, we're seeing still on-premise installations, we're seeing public cloud installations, and somehow all those different applications together have to span and create integrated processes. So we have to make sure that we are able to operate on the different stacks in the different landscapes. Here, this is what we are targeting with it. We also do not want to have separate integration engines when it comes to B2B, A2A, or B2G integration, separate API management systems that are not integrated. So our approach is really looking into a common approach, which is mainly delivered by one product on BTP, which is called SAP Integration Suite, which actually gives you the capabilities to have A2A, B2B, B2G integration on a single platform, having event-based capabilities to provide the entry into the event-driven architecture world, having an API management integrated here, offering also the B2B or the required B2B, let's say, add-ons that we're seeing are needed, like a partner management solution, or an extended onboarding solution for new business partners here to be integrated into the solutions. And also here, of course, we're using AI on the one hand side, for example, to speed up the integration of new partners, but also to create new integrations by also here bringing or generating development artifacts, helping with AI to also see where we have complex integrations, on looking into scripts that you might have created as part of your integration and optimizing those, or when you're using the API component here, figuring out if there are any anomalies in the API usage and then reacting proactively on those. This is part of the integration engine. So I mentioned that we have event capabilities as part of the integration suite. Nevertheless, we see at some customers, we see extended requirements when it comes to eventing. So this is why we have an additional component, which is called Integration Suite Advanced Event Mesh, that really provides a full-fledged, decentralized service mesh approach here for extended requirements in the eventing area. So looking at Integration Suite here and the Advanced Event Mesh, you see the different components here, so the integrated components of the solution. The other thing that you can read also here is 1,400 business event types, for example, 5,000 APIs, 4,200 built-in integrations. This is basically another component of BTP, which is content, pre-delivered content. And I forgot to mention that also in the build area, that we already deliver, for example, a lot of automations as content reusable for you. And this is the same here, no matter if this is SAP solutions or third-party solutions. In a lot of cases, we already offer to you a pre-built integration that you can reuse to integrate between SAP and third-party applications, but also between third-party applications without any involvement of BTP. So we're really seeing, and we also see that in the reports of analysts, that the integration suite is an enterprise-grade platform for all your integration necessities, going beyond just acting as an SAP integration platform here. So next topic, artificial intelligence and data foundation. So what does that mean? We want to provide with BTP your AI platform for the future, and to help you really getting the foot on the ground when it comes to start and then continue to run also with AI. And so the first thing that is really crucial is the data part. So having the access to the right data and also the right types of data, no matter if these are texts, files, graphs, pictures, whatever it can be, right? To leverage it in your AI developments. And then if we look at the data, then also providing the right tools and technologies within the database to process and work with those different types of data, right? And maybe even giving or taking the possibility to bring machine learning algorithms, AI capabilities into the database itself. And then on the other hand side, it's the development effort of AI. And if we talk about development of AI, there are different aspects, right? It can be the task to create a new model. More often, it's the task to bring AI functionalities, maybe delivered by an LLM like ChatGPT or whatever, into a certain process. I mentioned, for example, the generation of a job posting, right? So the question is, how can we enable you to build those things effectively? I showed you already SAP Build as the central development solution suite on the platform. And this is also what we're using here. I was talking about Joule Studio being the tool to create agents and skills for Joule. Nevertheless, of course, you have all the other tools to do development in the AI space and also deploy and operate those. And this brings us to the next point, which is run AI at scale. If you want to run those things, you need to have the right infrastructures, the runtimes to do so, to actually create the workloads for your specific scenarios, to operate the life cycle of, on the one hand side, the models, on the other hand side, the scenarios and the applications that you build on top. And of course, all that with a robust security delivered by the platform. And if we look at a lot of AI scenarios today, then it's not so much often about the models, because a lot of models are already there, right? If we look at the market, there are a ton of large language models that can be used. Nevertheless, in a lot of cases, it's required to have specific knowledge. And SAP has a lot of knowledge about the applications that you're using, about the processes that you're running, right? And you have your own data that has to be included there. Nevertheless, it's also about bringing you the connectivity to reuse all the great things that are out there and to give you a secure access to the models that are available. Now, if we look at the challenges of a lot of those scenarios, it's the pace of innovation that is quite difficult to come across at the moment, or to continue to be on top of the line. It's moving so fast in the AI area that it is a huge challenge to stay there. You develop a scenario, you did a lot of effort and time, and we're coming to that point, to say which is the right model that I need to use, and how can I fine tune it and do the ideal prompt. And then you finally have found it. But 5 weeks later, it's not the latest model version of that vendor. There are other models coming up. And how do you want to actually make sure that over the life cycle, your solution that you have developed will still bring the best results that are possible with the solutions that are in the market? And on the other hand side, how does it do that with a meaningful usage of resources? So also the cost aspects and the possibilities to meter and monitor those has to be taken into consideration. And what do we see, and where this leads often to, is that a lot of AI scenarios do not fail with creating a great proof of concept or a great prototype, but really with the possibility to bring it to production, right? To also automate the processes that are necessary behind, like automating trainings, retrainings, regenerations of models if you're using your own models. But again, also as said, staying ahead of time when it comes to just following the pace with the models that are available, right? So it's really in that productivity to operationalization where we see a lot of projects fail. And this is exactly what we want to address with our platform. So coming back a little to what now is this platform, let's first focus on the data piece a little bit. With HANA, we are providing the perfect database for any custom development. So on the one hand side, you can say it's the perfect solution for my applications and extensions that I have for my processes, because I have the different data access options to our applications, maybe also to BDC data products, or to external data stores. I can still use that. I have a tiered storage system, which makes it possible also to say what is the most important data that I need to access regularly. I will keep that in memory. I have native storage extension. I have then data lake capabilities within HANA Cloud to make use of that data. And if we talk about data, then also very important, we can store every kind of data within HANA Cloud, which means no matter if I'm looking at spatial data, structured data, unstructured data, vectors, knowledge graphs, whatever it is, we can store that and we can work with that in the same platform. And in a lot of cases, I said, already bringing down a lot of machine learning and AI capabilities, predictions inside the platform and directly operated inside the database. On the other hand side, if we think a little bit further, how HANA is the correct or the best platform when it comes to AI scenarios, it's also looking into, wait a second, there are those engines that offer me a lot of capabilities when it comes to work with those. So I have all those different models also in there, and I have the engines to work with the models, which means I can do similarity search on the vector engine. I can do text embeddings in there, and I can use that for my rec scenarios in AI. I have the possibility with the knowledge graph engine to really create my own custom database object knowledge graph that I can use for my AI scenarios. I can use the search and text processing inside HANA Cloud to make use of it in my AI scenarios. And with the agents that HANA Cloud provides and the capabilities also of the MCP server leveraging those capabilities, it's even easier making use of the capabilities inside my my scenario generation for my custom AI scenarios here. So now, then when we talk about AI and data foundation, and if HANA provides the possibility from a data perspective, and I did not even talk about the agentic memory. So now how do I do that, right? HANA with its tiered model is the perfect solution to also keep the memory of your agents and to not forget the conversations your employees did do with that, right? But on top, on BTP, we are delivering a lot more with the AI capabilities that we're having. So we already were talking about creating custom applications and extensions, maybe even with AI, or creating agents. We saw the Joule Studio. Nevertheless, from the perspective of the developer, it's even more. Like if we, for example, or if we have a scenario looking into documents, we are providing services to classify, extract information out of these documents, to make information out of these documents much more reliable if we extract them in an automated fashion, leveraging AI technology. We can use translation services in a context-aware form to have much better translation results. Now, we also have, of course, a huge knowledge that we want to leverage. So if you can think of code generation, and if you try that with a large language model for ABAP, simply that is going to be really difficult because the information that is spread in the outside world around ABAP are, let's say, very fluent and separated. But we have a pre-trained model that actually does that code generation to help the developers. And then with Rapid One, so I don't know if you're aware about that. So you all potentially know GPT models, so general pre-trained transformer models, the large language models that are perfectly in understanding, writing, and creating text. but not very well serving structured data that comes from relational databases or tables, right? And what SAP announced at TechEd was the RPT1, or Rapid One, as we say, which is a model that is optimized to work with structured data. And you have the access to use that for your structured data. Then, of course, it's the capability of model access. So all those great models that are out there, public models, we provide you the possibility to use them all with a single license. So you can test them. You can also benchmark them to see what is the best model for a particular scenario that you have to do. And then over time, also say, does that change? Can we change that in the future? Do we need optimized prompt? Then we have tools that help you even generate optimized prompts for the different models. Now we have, with the knowledge graph for SAP, you have access to a lot of information that we're getting from the usage of our applications, of the processes that are spanning. So it's a huge benefit if you create business-related AI scenarios. Now with the AI orchestration, we are providing tools that actually bring a lot of those tasks of a developer down to the layer of this foundation. So for example, searching for the right model, testing it independently, doing benchmarks. But on the other hand side, also, if you say, okay, I need to have grounding, I need to have a prompt templating, you should not do that hard-coded in the scenario implementation. You should bring that down, because that is what is changing fast and where you see a lot of movement in the AI development today. And if you're bringing it down to this layer, you can handle this centrally. And yes, you have to integrate this into your applications, but we are providing exactly those SDKs to use this AI foundation within your developments, no matter if you're developing in ABAP, in Node.js, or in Python, right? And then, as said before, the life cycle management of your AI projects. So really, how can you keep up the pace with what's going on to really maintain those things? I'm not going into many details on this slide here. I just want to provide this as an overview about all, not all, a lot of the different components that we are actually offering inside this AI foundation layer here on BTP, right? The access to more than 40 models, be it public models, be it models that we are operating on our platform, or models that are SAP's owned models. Benchmarking of those, optimizing the prompts, the possibility to orchestrate the different tasks that you need to have, like prompt templating or data masking, right? Translations you want to do, maybe even within the communication of the different models. So all this can be brought to that layer and then orchestrated and handled over the life cycle of your scenarios. Also here, short look on how this is delivered. We were talking about Build being the solution to provide the development tools, specifically here, the Joule Studio for agents and skills for Joule. And the specific AI capabilities with SAP HANA then underneath. Now, coming to the last topic here, very briefly, that is the core platform capabilities. It's about handling and operating this part of the platform in your company to make sure that the lifecycle management on the one hand side of your applications is working, but on the other hand side, also on the infrastructure itself, right? Making it possible to automate the creation of instances of BTP for your different projects. automate this, make it easy to create and automate the processes around running such a platform and your extensions and integrations on this topic. Having a secure environment to do that, having the services that handle identity management, identity handling. But on the other hand side, also with extended capabilities, handling privacy data, right? Looking at data protection, going maybe one step further and saying also, what do we do with auditing, or how do we handle compliance issues? Do we have a possibility to figure out what are the requirements, and maybe also defining gaps in our compliance situation that we're having? These things are actually making up the platform services. A lot of services that are simply the gore work that has to be done actually to create and operate custom solutions, very well being integrated into that world of business applications that you are running and maintaining with the business suite applications of SAP. And sometimes also, of course, when we talk about cross-system applications, also for third-party applications, at least when it comes to integration, that is definitely the possibility here. So also here, short overview about the different services that actually fulfill those requirements. And then we are coming to the last real chapter, looking into multi-cloud. So what does that mean? And what is this multi-cloud idea behind? So basically, if we look at how SAP BTP is delivered to you, then in most cases, you will look at a public cloud solution. What does that mean? So at the moment, we have at about 40 different locations worldwide, so globally spanning across the globe. And we're working together with the big hyperscaler infrastructure providers, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform, and Ali Cloud. And that's new since last year, we're also providing BTP on SAP's own cloud infrastructure. So we also have now 7 data centers where SAP actually provides also the infrastructure. So that means you can, if you're getting BTP, you can choose between the different locations of BTP. You do not have to be at one location. You can also spread to several locations. You have access to use those to create your applications, and you're independent of the underlying infrastructure provider. Of course, in every case, with a robust security and compliance framework underneath, and the same is true when it comes to data protection and privacy. Nevertheless, in certain areas, there are certain requirements to certain industries. So in some of those locations of the public cloud, we have some extended offerings, like, for example, EU Access, where we have 4 data center locations currently, where we guarantee that personal data is not leaving the EU, or basically it also includes Switzerland, for example, and Norway, but this European room. And also the access when it comes to maintenance and support only is being done out of that region. We have some other extensions to those public cloud environments when it comes to India, Israel, Korea, KSA, Switzerland, and the United Arab Emirates, to help specific customer segments being compliant with the requirements in those countries. Nevertheless, of course, we see industries, regulated industries, that even need to go beyond this. So what we're also offering currently in 4 different locations is a sovereign cloud offering, where we can provide complete data, operational, technical, and legal sovereignty. At the moment, these are the US, Canada, the combination of Australia and New Zealand, and the UK. And we're planning to have also this during 2026 for India and 2 European locations. Another thing that we're starting to offer now is sovereign cloud on-site. That is for very specific large customers with sovereignty requirements, where we even have the possibility to use or to bring the complete infrastructure stack of the SAP with BTP on top into the data centers of the customers and then also operate them exclusively for those customers. So here is an overview about the different locations and a little bit about the plans. Here's also a QR code that you can use to have a look at what we're planning when it comes to new locations in the future. And with that, just in time, hopefully I wanted to give you or to end with one slide that puts together all the different important or very interesting sources of information if you want to start your journey now with BTP, getting guidance in the guidance framework, getting information on services, AI capabilities, architecture, or reference architectures for certain scenarios in Discovery Center, learning for BTP. If you're starting, you also have access to the onboarding resource center where you get a lot of great information for your start. You have the possibility to create trial or use most of the services also in a free tier fashion if you have a contract, so you can try out services without them generating cost. And for all roadmap related stuff, please have a look at our Roadmap Explorer. And with this, I am done with what I wanted to tell you and show you today. And I hope that a lot of you got some new information, some better understanding on BTP. And I really would like to encourage you to go into the deep dive sessions of all the different chapters that I was talking to, where you get a lot of more detail on how this looks like than in reality. Back to Tania.
Thank you so much, Arne, for this incredible presentation. We have some questions. I think we are already over the time. I will send you the questions and then we will answer them in the comments area, as I wrote in the chat. Yeah, especially with questions about Joule, but we'll come to that in the comments area. Then a big thank you for everyone who joined us today. I hope you got a lot of value from this session, and I look forward to seeing you again next week and all the other upcoming sessions. Again, a big thank you, Arne, for your incredible presentation. And with this, have a great day, have a great evening, depending on where you are.